I absolutely think that science on the one hand and spiritual wisdom traditions, including the religions, but also non-traditional forms of spirituality, are not contradictory necessarily, but they're complementary ways of knowing. And I heard someone describe it once, sort of like neighbors, and they'd go out in their backyard and they'd look over the fence and they'd talk to each other while they were watering the plants. So they were saying they don't think that the fence should necessarily come down, but they do think that science and religion should start to talk over the fence to each other and learn from their perspective what are they learning about reality. And so I think the Institute of Noetic Sciences offers people who are into science but they don't want to lose their souls or their hearts or their faith to be able to have a science that doesn't degrade their interiority, their subjective experience, but also for people who are religious to not have to completely abandon science or to have science risk their religious belief. So yeah, I do think it's a beautiful bridge between science and spirituality, and it hopefully will continue to spread. Um, I was invited to an interfaith dialogue hosted by Father Thomas Keating at Snowmass, and he's been meeting with the same group of people for about 20 years. And they invited me maybe 10 years ago because they wanted two things. One was to start to bring in young people because their average age was somewhere between 70 and 85. And then they also wanted me to come and represent the faith tradition of science, which I thought was a really great thing because they were basically like, you have faith in experiments, in observing, in hypothesis testing, in replication, in attempting to get rid of noise. That's the faith that we want you to talk about. Now, most scientists would just shudder at the idea of calling science a faith, but they really had a point that that was just yet another way of viewing reality. And so I was really honored to be there.
Have you ever met anybody that you couldn't talk to because of the schism between faith and
No,
science?
because I was raised in a family where my father is atheist, and I guess he would be, I would say agnostic, but he's somewhere between agnostic and atheist, but he certainly doesn't believe in things like life after death or God, and in fact would say that religions have harmed more people than they've helped. And so I was raised in that environment. Now, my mom was a Jungian-oriented psychotherapist who was very interested in dreams and symbolism and mythology and goddesses, and so
Mysticism.
yeah, so not surprisingly, they divorced and found people that were closer to their way of looking at the world. But those live inside of me, so I love scientists, and I really I respect and understand and have compassion for the perspective that says that we cannot fall prey to superstition, because the same way that an over-reliance on science and technology as the sole ways of knowing the world has taken us to the brink of nuclear war and, science without accompanying ethics is a big problem. But if it's not that long ago that religion took us to the same kind of dark place where there was the Inquisition and, mass murder of genocides based on religion. And so both of them have shadows, both of them have positive sides, and I understand that people who are scientists and atheists and even passionate atheists are actually trying to protect us from going into another dark ages. So I really have fun with people. I find that if you bring joy to the conversation and you really want to know how they see the world and what they think, and then you can go back and forth with them, it's pretty enjoyable.